I hope you guys are having a great day. I wanted to dive in to innovations. There is a lot happening at Whitley, and there's a lot that's happening really quickly. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of connect with you guys for 45 minutes or so and talk through some of the innovations that are taking place, and then just Q&A it, discuss it, make sure everybody's on the same page. We've talked about onboarding. We've talked about onboarding for coaches, onboarding in the portal. We've talked about, what have we talked about? We've talked about action plans. We've talked about hands-free accounts, and we've talked about universal billing. That's a lot of changes, guys and girls. That's a lot of innovations.
Me too. I need it, or I'm a different person.
I need my sleep. I don't know how these people.
I'm a dramatically different person.
I get 7 hours of sleep every day. Okay. I never miss.
Yeah, but the thing is, he prioritizes his everything. But like the sleep specific, that's something you do really well.
So
is that you make sure that you get there. Like my problem is, I will push off sleep forever. Like I'll just be like, I just gotta do a little more, and then the level of work goes down, but I'm still like doing it. It's just, but he just shuts it off, which is smart.
I shut it off. Like when I leave here, I'll like it's different because obviously there's no stuff coming from I'm having conversations with people from Spain, Russia, Switzerland, and Germany. Like I'm having conversations with people. So my ability to control when I'm having conversations is about I still go to bed at 8:30. I still get up at 3, 4, 1. But it's because I go to bed at 8:30.
I mean, I guess it is just like a decision. It's not anything crazy to understand how you go to bed.
Well, it's actually really fascinating because some people like this can't do it. Like I'll walk into my bedroom and I'll turn the TV on and I'll just lay there for 3 hours. But here's the thing. You actually train your brain to act a certain way in certain situations. So let's say, for example, you've built this habit of laying down and turning on the TV, and you've done it for a year or 2. What you've trained your brain to do is exactly what you end up doing every single day. And essentially, it becomes this thing where you almost lose control of your ability to take ownership of the bedroom, walking in, laying down, and going to sleep. Because your brain says, no, every day we go in here, we do the same thing. We grab the remote, we turn on TV, and we lay and watch TV. And so it actually takes a ton of intention to break the cycle of doing something like that. I think for who I gave the advice to, but I said, literally, only go in your bedroom to sleep.
That's a good.
That's it. Like when you go into your room, break the remote, take the TV off the wall, if that's what you have to do. Only go into your room to sleep. And what happens is you eventually retrain your brain. Whenever you walk in the room, so you go to sleep. And your brain makes this flip. It flips the switch. And then you no longer wrestle with it. It's like one of the most fascinating things. But you can teach. We have the office downtown, and like I found myself getting this weird rhythm because I was uninspired. I would walk in and I would like literally just like do nothing for 2 or 3 hours. It's abnormal, but I didn't really like the space anymore. And so I would walk in if I felt uninspired, I would just turn off, which is sometimes why I have to go to coffee shops or why I have to go here or there because I feel uninspired. I don't feel like doing work, so I just jump on my phone and talk. Right. And I had to literally take a step back and say, this space is only for work. And so if I'm going to walk into this space, here's the work that's got to get done. And then I'm leaving. Now, if I finish the work by 1:30, I got the hell out of the office because that space is only for work. And like it was kind of weird. After a week or 2, no more problems. I knew that space was only for work. So when I walked in there, I was getting it done. And then I would literally just get out of there. So if you're having an issue where you're like, well, it's a TV, like take the TV off the damn wall. If you're having an issue like, well, I gotta just go unwind, don't do it in that room. Unwind on the chair and then get up and when you go. Even if you still watch TV in the living room for 2 hours before you go to bed, make that place for sleep and sleep alone. And then when you go in there at 9:30, you clock out. And then what happens, you do that for a week or 2, and then you go in there at 9, and then you clock out. And then you go in there at 8:30, and then you clock out. And eventually you retrain yourself to act a different way because you're taking control of your behavior in the environment that you're accustomed to having these different types of actions, reactions. It's how I got up at, I struggled for so long. I was like, how come people do it 4 a.m., man? Like, it doesn't make any sense. When Chris and I first got together, I got to, like, I would go to like 8:30 or 9. And then eventually I was like, all right, I'm gonna get up at 8. And then I'm gonna get up at 7:30. And then 7:30 was here's the question, bitch, because the alarm would go off. My life habit was laying in bed doing this.
Yeah, for like the first hour or whatever. Yeah.
And it took me like 6 months to get past 7:30 until I realized that the phone was the problem. And so what I did is I took the phone and I moved it into the bathroom. And so now, every day when the alarm went off, I had to jump out of bed and turn off the alarm before Bridget would go. And the first week of this was horrible because she's like, I'm gonna kill you. You've got to turn this stupid alarm off. Which means, in my mind, I'm like, I gotta get to it faster. And when you wake up and you jolt out of the bed, you're not going back to the bed. And that became the hack for me. And so a week goes by, I got up at 7, and then 6:30, and then 6. And I got stuck at 6. I'm like, how do I get up at 4:30? What do they do? And I got a coach, he was like, go to bed at 8. Duh. I was like, that's it, I gotta go to bed at 8:30. And so I started going to bed at 10, and then 9:30, and then 9, 8.
You don't miss that time at the end of the night? Like, that's not a worth it trade for you?
Well, look, what is it? What am I missing? Like, my schedule doesn't have to be your schedule.
No, for sure. I envy it. I envy it because of how much work you can get done in the early parts of the day.
But I never do. I never work before 9 o'clock.
That's all just you time?
Ever, 100%. 4:30 to 8:30 or 9 o'clock is my time. You don't get it. I don't care.
That's a really smart way of getting your time without getting anyone upset too, because I'm a loner, so I get it. Like to the degree to where like I might be like I'm a people person, but I really enjoy my alone time, like where I can just like no other intrusive thoughts or anything like that, and it makes my girlfriend upset sometimes because she'll be like, you're not talking enough, or.
And this is what I say to that, because Bridget used to have that same thought process, and I always said this: you cannot love another human being more than you love yourself.
Yeah.
I take time to myself love. I need connection, I need restoration, I need to go dive in the gym, I need to read, I need to journal, I need to give the Bible. Like, I can only give another person what I give myself. And it's only to the extent. So if I'm only giving myself this much, that's all I have to give for you. You can only give to another person to the extent and degree that you give to yourself. So those 3 or 4 hours that I take to myself are why I can give to so many people.
And I am fascinated by the human brain. I am fascinated by human behavior. So I spend an enormous amount of time studying psychology. I'm not a doctor. I never went to school. I failed college the first 2 semesters, which is why I went into entrepreneurship. I've never had a real job. I've always kind of just done my own thing. Since I've had the freedom, I've chosen to study psychology. I think it's one of the most fascinating things that there is to study. But sales, marketing, advertising, it is psychology. It is understanding human behavior, understanding what makes people tick. Having a high degree of emotional intelligence is crucial to your success as a leader. And the way that we're going to teach you guys to build your businesses today to recruit, being a leader, having a high sense of EQ is going to be really crucial to your success. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, that's not necessarily something in my toolkit today, that's okay. You've got some awareness. Go start to study, hire coaches, read books, get mentors that can help you develop a high sense of EQ. It is something that you can learn if you are spending time, attention, and energy focused on it. So let's dive in. Number 1 rule of marketing. You go buy 1,000 marketing books all over the world. They're going to tell you to do one thing: know who you're marketing to. This experience today is no different. So we're going to really dive into this here. And I don't know if we can share the screen for those on Zoom so that they'll be able to see this a little bit clearer, but let's try to do that. Number 1 rule of marketing is know who you're marketing to. How many of you know that you have to create content to get attention today? How many of you know that you have to do that? Just raise your hands, raise your hands. How many of you know what to say in your content? 2, 4, 5. Some of you are doing this. I think you're just waving at me. Obviously uncertain that you know what you got going on, trying, right? The reason you don't know what to say is because you don't know who you're saying it to. Okay? Write this down. Person that works with everyone works with no one. You cannot go out there and communicate a message and have an impact trying to please everybody, trying to say something that's going to get everybody's attention. It is not possible. So we're going to niche down and really grow to understand who it is that you actually want to work with today. And then we're going to engineer systems and processes based on this character. I spend literally in most of my sales conversations 1 to 2 minutes talking about product or service. And you know what? Typically, I'm not even talking about the product or service. You know what I'm talking about? The next step. That's it. If I'm having a sales conversation, for the most part, I might spend 2 seconds talking about what it is, and then I just start talking about the next steps. Each action somebody takes with you is designed to sell the next action. That's it. Okay, so if you're in a sales conversation with somebody and you spend 30 minutes talking about products, you lose. Spend 2 minutes, 30 seconds talking about products, people want to know what the next step is. And you know it's validated because if you spend 30 minutes talking about products, people say, okay, what's the next step? It's the very next question they go to in almost every case. Don't spend very much time at all talking about products or services. Nobody cares. Yes. Or you can talk yourself out of it. You can oversell. They care again about how you can help me overcome my internal pain and achieve my intrinsic motivation. What we call big pain, big goal. Okay? That's what they care about. So the last part of our conversation is all about the close. Okay? So we move people to take an action. We move people to actually take the next step. Now, 100% of the time that I'm talking on the phone, I could look at my phone, the timer, and if I was at 24 minutes, I knew I was good to move to the next part of the conversation. If and only if I could clearly articulate their internal pain. And I could clearly articulate their big why. I was having a conversation with a gentleman out of Oklahoma a couple years ago. And throughout the first interaction of the call, he was talking about, he was opening up and he was admitting to me that his father wasn't able to give him the best life growing up. And he wanted his kids to know that he loved them and that he would provide for them and that he could be, and this is his words, a model for them growing up. Somebody they could look at and be inspired by and take action off of and all those things. Okay, I have a very good understanding of his internal pain, his intrinsic motivation. When we got to the end of the conversation, it got time to close the deal. He said, I don't think I can move forward yet. I'm not sure I have the money. I asked him one question. Is that the model you want to be for your son? Almost like it was unfair, right? You're right. It's not. Here's my credit card. One question. Because I understood this and this. Okay? When you understand these things, when it comes time to my next part of the call, if you do this part right, if you spend most of your time here, this takes just a few minutes. It's like seconds, minutes. Doesn't take a whole lot of time because you've done the rest of the part the right way. Now, if you miss the first half of the call, if you make a mistake, Dylan, oh, homeboy Dylan over there, Dylan taught me how to teach people how to sell. It took me 9 months. I learned more than he did, I guarantee it. But he taught me how to teach people to sell. It wasn't until some of these little bitty things clicked for me that I was like, oh, Dylan, okay, here, step 1, 2, 3, and then boom, out of nowhere he picked it up. And now I know how to teach people to sell much faster. But Dylan sometimes we wouldn't get all the way here through the first half of the call. I'm like, how much time are you spending winning a friend? Oh, like 10 minutes. No, Dylan. No, Dylan. You got to go at least 24. You got to go the distance, buddy. I could listen to a sales conversation because Dylan would send me his calls, and within no more than 5 minutes, deal's gone. I didn't have to listen to the other 55 minutes. Deal's gone, deal's gone, deal's gone. Because a lot of salespeople skip this part and they go right here or here. Okay? This is the most important part. Prioritize this, because if you don't understand somebody's internal pain, you'll never be able to sell them anything. Promise. Or it will take you forever. Okay? And I know most of you don't want to wait forever. If you miss, you're going to go into something I call the closing loop. Okay? This is a sales process I paid, I think it was like $36,000 to understand, to learn, and it has helped me immensely. So don't be a jerk. Don't use these powers for evil, okay? All right? I can get anything I want with this. Okay, I learned to use the sales process. I very, very mistakenly taught my wife. Now she's very good at it. So be careful who you teach this. But this is a loop that I put people through. So if I make a mistake in the winning a friend part and I don't build a very good relationship, I have to work so hard on the back end of a conversation. I don't want that. So I try to get this part right first. But if I miss, I then go through this, what I call the closing loop. Here's how it works. Step 1, thank them. I paid Grant Cardone like $60,000 in a year. This is the #1 takeaway I got, and he gave it out for free on social media. Rule number 1, always agree. Always agree, always agree, always agree. You guys could say literally anything in the world you want to me, and I'm going to agree with you. If I have a sales objective. Grant, you're stupid. I agree with you. Grant, fill in the blank. I don't like your voice. Yeah, I think it sucks too. Well, yeah, Grant, you're bald. Yeah, I get that. I agree. I understand. It does not matter. Anything that comes out of somebody's mouth, I agree. You don't always have to take any action on that. Just, hey, I agree. That would be frustrating. Hey, I agree. That would be upsetting. Hey, I agree. Here's the thing. If you don't do that, defense goes up. Wall comes up. People instead go from being in alignment with you to now trying to defend their stance. Okay? You're building a wall, very unintentionally. So rule number 1 of sales, always agree. So what up, everybody? Are you guys having a good night? So everybody here is unbelievably amazing, okay? These are business people from all over the United States that have traveled here tonight to kick it with all of you guys, and especially you two, okay? Each person here has gotten together and they've tipped $100 a piece, okay? But that's not the coolest thing. We had people all over social media, all over the world that sent in way more money. And for everybody here tonight, now you're gonna get a lot of it, right? We're gonna split a little bit as much as we can. We've raised a total of $13,300 for you and for you. This is for you, it's $3,200. This is for you, it's $3,200. Thank you for taking good care of us tonight, okay?